Hey YouTube, it's Neveros. We're back with another video. More Rev says Desu today. You get what you fucking deserve. I wonder what this is all about. I haven't checked it out, obviously, because what's the point then in doing a reaction? So we'll be getting into it in just a second. Link to the original video will be down below. Remember to comment, like, or subscribe, or do all three, so your view counts as an engaged viewer. And you'd be really helping me out a lot. Don't forget to check my links in the bottom as well. You'd be helping me in ways you can't even fathom. So with that said, let's get into it. Let's see what Rev is up to today.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rev here.
Uh,
So
so automatically I see Anna So this is
today's situation can be best described in many different
dear
ways.
idea.
How it started versus how it's going. You reap what you sow, or even the classic, you mess around and you find out.
Yeah.
We're of course referring to a situation involving a VTuber who has a long history of going after other people's sponsorships, now losing a sponsorship themselves. Now, a lot of people will not feel sorry for you when that
No,
comes around to bite you.
I
But
certainly
anyways, we're
won't.
talking about Anna Valence. This is someone we've talked about before, especially a few months ago when they launched a life ruination campaign against the VTuber Kirsha. They are a journalist here, and they made multiple articles going after Kirsha, accusing them of all the ists and phobes they could think of,
Yeah.
while actively targeting her sponsorships in an attempt to get those sources of income removed from Kirsha. Now, today we're talking about a different sponsor, the one that Anna was trying to team up with, Waifu Wares. It's a smaller company. As you can see, they make all kinds of different
Oh, they look
VTuber
cute.
and anime related merch.
Yeah.
Now, Anna, earlier yesterday, announced this on Twitter, saying, "Very proud to announce I am now an official affiliate partner with Waifu Wares UK," and use the code, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Her code Anna Valence is kind of chunky. I'd have made it. I'd have just then used code Ava because it kind of works. Anna Valence, whatever.
Blah, blah. Now, a lot of people looked at this and they started sharing many different things that Anna has posted over the years and basically saying, do you want to work with this individual who also has a history of going after other people's sponsorships? A lot of the things people are sharing are things that are just open and available. Like if you remember from the last time we talked about this individual, they have this audio clip that a lot of people, probably millions at this point, have heard of, where
I
as a
haven't seen it.
trans person, they share their fantasy about rounding up cis girls and then putting them into breeding facilities to abuse them over and over again. Now, I've seen a lot of this
Disgusting.
person's defenders saying, oh, it's just, it's rage bait, it's an edgy joke, or it's an edgy fantasy, whatever. But
The thing about claiming things are, oh, it's just a joke. Can't you take a joke? That's the bully's defense. And I will never see it as anything but. A joke at somebody else's expense is not a joke. I've been the butt of everybody's jokes my whole life, and it's very rare occasions that I've ever found it funny. But you know, it's not fun to be a joke at somebody else's expense. So when people make a joke at your expense and then they're like, "Can't you take a joke?" They're just bullying you. That's all it is. They're just a bully.
keep in mind, Anne is the same person who only in April of this year released an article trying to accuse Vialore, the VTuber group, of catering to pedophiles because one of their VTubers has a lolly model. So clearly,
Ah,
they're trying to
okay.
justify their own fantasies on one end, but trying to cancel other people over fictional content. Like, it's very, very inconsistent. And then we have this right here, which none of the supporters of Anna will ever address in any sort of a way. Back in 2020, during the heights of
What?
Fall Guys, they made an entire article documenting their experience with this game, where they rigged an adult toy on themselves in a way that would make it activate
Oh
whenever they
my
came into
God.
contact with other players.
That
Now, right off of
is
the bat,
that's
you're putting other players in a situation where they're not consenting to sexual activity, right? And you go a step further, this is Fall Guys, a game.
you know what, guys? Technology is maybe progressing a little bit faster than it should. I mean, that's disgusting, but it's quite a remarkable feat of technology.
that has a very large child base of players.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're not just putting random players into this disgusting situation, you're doing this to children as well. Now, of course,
Well, I definitely see where he's coming from, and he's right. But I'd argue that they don't know, so it's not really a mutual thing. Uh, it shouldn't happen in the first place. Let's get that right. But yeah, um, that's all I have to say about
a
that.
lot of people were sharing these publicly available things to waifu wares
Nice
early
banner, waifu
yesterday
wears.
morning, and it
I'm gonna
seems
check
like
them
they
out.
made a decision very quickly. But during those hours, Anna made this tweet mocking someone, basically saying it's for stuff like that
Oh
that you
God,
lose
Binted.
journalism gigs and other future opportunities, where they dismissed that, saying no one in media actually cares about all the random Twitter nonsense that goes on here. People look at the crazy YouTube videos about me and immediately assume that I have crazy obsessive haters, not that I'm an evil and bad person. Understand, this person went on a life ruination campaign for weeks and honestly for months at this point, trying to rip away sponsors from Kirsha, trying to cancel her, and doing this to other people as well. And you can see they're doing the classic tactic of dismissing all the criticism against them as crazy. It's all just crazy. There's no reason to check into it. But they
Yeah, it's not
claim no
like you
one
deserved it
cares
or
about what
anything.
happens around here. Well, apparently, Waifu Wares does. And in the hours after announcing their affiliate, Anna was let go. They say this: we would like to clarify that we are not affiliated with Anna Valens and we're unaware of any past events or situations they may have been involved in. When reviewing potential participants, we base our checks on recent activity and profiles rather than conducting an extensive deep dive in.
Uh, Rather than conducting an extensive deep dive into historical matters. That's fair. Um, Historical precedent does give you some background and whatnot, but people can change. So, um, does Anna Valens deserve this? Yes, absolutely. Um, is it right? No, I don't think so. Um, you can, she can deserve her affiliation with Waifu Wares being terminated by Waifu Wares. Um, and she can deserve people going out and like, hey, waifu wears, you know what she did, blah blah blah, and that's why she got her affiliation removed. But it's not right that they did that. In the same way, it's not right that Anna Valens went against Kirsha. Two wrongs don't make a right. That's an important lesson people need to relearn, I find.
to historical matters. Now, if you look around, they would try to clarify what's going on here later, a couple hours after Waifu Ware's announcement, sharing that they were invited to join the collaboration program at 10:45 a.m. yesterday, and they were given a code to use, and people could get a discount from the website. Looking through Waifu Ware's various applications, they said they were an affiliate. So if they were an affiliate, they just had a code basically.
Hmm.
But it sounds like they were going to the next step, possibly getting some merch or whatever. But the way this company, a lot of smaller companies work, is basically you've got to kind of do all the groundwork. You have to pay for your own arts. They're just manufacturing, whether it's a shaker or something, they're just putting it on there for you and then shipping it to people.
Yeah.
So this is like a very kind of low grade sort of collaboration here where it's really
Yeah, it's pretty much, it sounds like very much like my Poggers and Starforge affiliations. I literally just have a code and I send people to my code. I share my code out in my affiliate link where people can buy, and the code that I give automatically applies um, the link that I give automatically applies the code, so you don't have to worry about that. You just go to my links and you buy whatever, and you get the 10 or 5% off, depending on if it's Poggers or Starforge. There's literally nothing beyond that. I've got to promote it. I've got to, hype it up and whatnot. And I don't know that I'm doing a particularly good job of it. I've never done anything like this before, so. But yeah, that's what it sounds like. She's just got to generate sales, really. And if she's going into getting merch done for herself and whatnot, she's got to pay for everything that comes out of her pocket.
Mostly on the person trying to work with the company, and the company's just kind of putting it all together. And looking through their application process, they pretty much, like they said, just check your main social media accounts and they check like the most recent activity,
Yeah,
which can lead to a lot of issues, as you can see. But that's the framework we're working with today. And this tweet really kind of sums up how people are feeling about this largely, where it's like, you went after people for a very long time trying to get their sponsors removed for so-called problematic behavior, and now it's turned around and happened to you.
yeah,
Going after sponsors is lame. I think everyone can agree on that when it comes to the overwhelming majority of matters. But if
agreed.
you're someone who engages in this practice, if you try to ruin people's sponsorships, nobody's going to bat an eye when it comes around and happens to you. And that's exactly what's going on here.
The difference is that I wouldn't advocate for people going after Anna Valence sponsors, for example. Um, if it was lame when she did it, it's lame if you do it, even if she deserves it.
With this situation, I think it's very clear. Now we look to Kirsha, right? So this is someone who's been subjected to this life ruination campaign
Hmm.
by Anna for a long time, and they must feel pretty validated because the articles on Vice made by Anna included stuff like this, not only making wild accusations and very uncharitable conclusions about Kirsha, calling them basically every ist and phobe they could think of, they also directly went after her sponsors, including Gamer Subs, for example, even putting it in the title, framing this whole thing is basically Gamer Subs, why do you have this bigot in your midst? And
That's a
why are
pretty
you
cool picture
supporting
there.
them? And they're trying very hard. And you can see, even on Twitter, they constantly wipe their tweets or switch accounts, but they made a whole detailed guide, not just on Twitter, but on Blue Sky as well, showing people how to go after Kirsha's sponsors. I mean, this is like so blatant where they say, here's what you got to do.
Hmm.
Even if you're a creator with Gamer Subs, for example, you have to go around and warn creators about Kirsha's politics, leverage connections with Gamer Subs for an answer, and consider moving away from the brand long term. So it's a very active effort. In fact, when that really wasn't working with Gamer Subs, they went the next step and they started trying to put pressure on Gamer Subs and to cancel Kirsha, not with Kirsha's own actions anymore, but the actions of people they view as a supporter of Kirsha. That's how desperate things got. And the obsession never ended because this went on for months. In fact, only 6 days ago, on August 5th, they made a long thread claiming that Kirsha's now been dropped by Gamer Subs. Here's their proof, their supposed proof, saying, speaking of which, I noticed recently that Kirsha's Gamer Subs code isn't in her bio on Twitter anymore, and she seemed to focus more on promoting her other sponsors on social media. I don't believe she's posted a Gamer Subs promotion since May, which is odd for a partner. Well, as someone who also works with multiple sponsors, like, you tend to rotate. So going a couple months without promoting something from a company is like not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Otherwise, I figure you just overload people with like, oh my God, there's so many things to go. No, it's probably better just to like, I'm okay. I can focus on Poggers and Starforge, for example. But if there was Gamer Subs, Waifu Wares, Advanced GG, Poggers, Starforge, um, because of Starforge, I can't do anything other computer related things. But if I had like 10 sponsors or 10 affiliate links, that description box is going to get pretty damn full with literally with what really amounts to spam at that point, because I'm just like vomiting it out at you. Like, here, have a look at all of this, and you're like, I don't know what to look at. So it's better just to like focus.
down here they say, I am living rent free in her head. Main character syndrome. I don't think that's what's
No,
happening. Because she's
no, I
just
don't
big
think that's
mad, or
what's
is she
happening.
upset because Gamer Subs is slowly and quietly removing her from its affiliate program and she ultimately feels like she's lost her support? It's an open question. I still don't know. Something seems off.
It's an open question, but I'll block replies. I'll block the ability to reply. You see that?
And they say all this stuff that her emblem was pulled and her promo posts have disappeared. And also, they're retweeting fans about it. But, anyways, but also, they say down here, after saying, "Oh well, the panel's gone from Twitch, but her code still works." I don't really think that's great proof that someone's sponsorship has been ripped away. When
No, if the code works, then they're still working with it. Because if Gamer Subs had broken ties with Kirsha, the code would be deactivated.
their creator code still works, I don't know. But I think there's a very simple explanation for all this. It's probably to protect gamer subs, just like probably a lot of people she works
Yeah, I
with,
can see
because
that.
maniacs will try to use that against her and try to go after the companies and relentlessly harass them and tag them in articles and tweets.
And it
Sound
creates a
familiar?
headache
Well, that's exactly what's happening
to the people
here.
at Gamer Subs.
And if you keep going deeper, right, it's all just ridiculous. I mean, remember the time when this all happened with the Gamer Subs crusade? I mean, Kirsha was hit with real life threats where she had to literally leave
And she actually posted proof of them too, by the way.
her house, and that's always overlooked. But people focus so much on gamer subs and what's going on here. I don't think a lot of people really understand the depths all of this went, but someone's got to be feeling real cathartic about all of this. The person who's relentlessly targeting them over and over again picked a fight, started to lose, and then tried to play the victim over the past couple of months.
Hey man, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Goddamn, that's fast. That's crazy. You get what you fucking deserve. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Imagine the life you could be living if you just hadn't tried to censor people and financially ruin them. No one would care. Imagine.
So now let's return to some more statements made by Anna.
Yeah, again, so like you get what you deserve and whatnot. You get what you deserve. That doesn't make it right. Sure, Anna Valence deserves it. There's no question about that. But that doesn't make the other people going out of their way to make it happen. That doesn't make it right. And that's a crucial point that Rev is not looking into, that I don't think anybody would look into, that I risk a lot of backlash for looking at, because it's pretty nuanced
regarding the situation. So as you can see, they're trying to do a spin. They're trying to spin the narrative where this was an amicable separating of the two parties, and that there's this harassment campaign going on where Anna's actually the victim once again. And you can see this post was made at 3:30 p.m. where they say, since a couple folks asked, Waifu Wears was a bit alarmed by some of the hate sent our way. We talked and decided to end the partnership for the time being. Now, of course, right around that time at 3:53, so just 23 minutes later, we start seeing posts like this, saying, there goes any interest in them. Anyone currently partnered, I suggest you reconsider your partnership, as they have shown that they'll kneel to anti-trans radicals.
Now I'm gonna go see if I can actually get a sponsorship. Or
label the situation as an act of transphobia or supporting anti-trans radicals. They know what they're doing here. There couldn't possibly be a legitimate reason to let go of someone like Anna. It must be because they're trans, according to individuals like this. And they go on further in their replies to say, why would I have an interest in a company either as a sponsor or a fan when it could be ripped away from me because people spammed 5-year-old rage bait to them? Now, it's not lost on me that individuals like Anna would gleefully use older tweets and posts by people like Kirsha, for example, to try to go after their sponsors and things like that. But referring to all of this as rage bait is rich. Like, you think this is rage bait, by the way? The Fall Guys situation, do you think that's simply
gross.
Rage
it's
bait?
Inappropriate.
No, I think any reasonable person looks at this and understands how disgusting this was. This was not...
Yeah, so this was disgusting. I said it, the kids on the other side with whom she's playing, the people with whom she's playing, they don't know, so it's not really hurting them, but it's still something. It's still really gross.
Not just rage bait. It put children in a situation where Anna was using these adult toys that were rigged to get satisfaction off of interacting with their characters. If you don't see how disturbing that is and you think it's just rage bait, I'm concerned about
it's
you.
disturbing and gross.
But of course, we have other people
Should
coming
never
out
have
and
happened.
trying to dispute this whole transphobia narrative that's being spread, where this VTuber said, I've worked with waifu wares and I've had nothing but the best experience. There are less than 5 staff in that company managing 100 plus talents in their cups. They work with several trans creators and have a very LGBTQ plus friendly Discord. Please support them. Now, of course, people who are trying to run with this narrative, they'll ignore an actual experience shared by someone who's worked with the company and will instead try to infer the reasons why they let go of this partnership.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot more irony coming out from people who are closely associated with Anna, this Nyara individual, replying to waifu wares just 8 minutes after that first, or the most latest post we saw from Anna, saying, you dropped her because you got pressured by a bunch of transphobic people who wanted to retaliate against her for coming after, in quotes, Kirsha. F you.
Those people, again, it's nuanced. They had every right to. I don't necessarily agree that that was the right choice. Whether they're transphobic or not that's debatable. No, I can't know whether they're transphobic or not. I don't think so. I think transphobe is just something that people throw out there just as slight or to smear people. So it's bordering on meaninglessness. But yeah, even if it was in retaliation against going after Kirsha, they were well within their rights to do it. Doesn't make it okay, doesn't make it right, but they had the right to, and it's justifiable.
Well, I definitely consider
you don't throw punches if you can't take it. That's what I'm getting at.
Making multiple articles and tagging sponsors and trying to engage in life ruination is in fact coming after Kirsha. If you think that is somehow not a big deal, I don't know what to tell you. But you start looking at people who are sharing stuff like this. Here's another one. A now deleted quote saying, I'd love to see what they found except for that 5-year-old breeding farm rage bait post that transphobes over and over again used to slander her.
I have no idea what Nyara is talking about there.
And of course, is this also rage bait? It seems like it's not just the breeding facilities audio that some people are paying attention to. Please explain why this is not something that is significant or to be paid attention to. But of course, you see the kind of individuals saying this stuff.
I mean, Nyara doesn't have a problem with kids being used, with potential children being used for sexual gratification because Nyara is a groomer and believes that children can consent to being transitioned and whatnot. And we're not talking like 8, 9, 10 years old. We're talking kids as young as 2 or 3. So yeah, guy's a freak show.
The irony is palpable. This was made back in March when they're referring to the whole thing going on with Kirsha, saying, why is it bad to let a sponsor know what their partners are saying? Well, that seems a bit hypocritical. So we can't talk about the breeding facilities. We can't talk about the Fall Guys article. But when it comes to Kirsha, it's open season. Anything they say, well, we should let the sponsors know.
Yeah, because it's only okay when we do it, you see. That's what it's about. The villains always think they're doing the right thing.
And of course, looking further, you can see how they gleefully responded to that thread on August 5th, where Anna claims Kirsha lost her Gamer Subs sponsorship. You can see Nyara saying, I thought she was making bank, referring to Kirsha claiming she made over $160,000 from her Gamer Subs merch. And then you got Anna saying all that while deep down knowing it was over is crazy, a very wild assumption. And then they interact saying total Foxu victory, complete succubus success. So gleefully sharing their excitement about Kirsha losing sponsorships. But all of a sudden now, if this happens back to Anna, it's totally unfair, it's transphobic, it's giving into the mob. The irony
because it's
is
only
through the roof.
when we do it.
But of course, there's been a lot going on with the Waifu Wares account. You can see they went private around this time, and don't harass this company. I think there's someone who they don't have enough measures in place in terms of filtering who they're allowing into their programs. I don't think that's anything too unique, but of course that's the way they have it set up. But hopefully they learn something from this experience and dig a little deeper on who they're working with. But there's one last long post from Anna saying, I hope we can all agree that waifu wears, what they went through today was completely unacceptable. No
I actually agree with her on that one.
Company should face a harassment campaign of such nature. If you must target someone, target me, not them. Many unrelated creators can and will be affected by such measures. What a savior complex right here.
Savior complex, maybe, but she's right.
The decision to end the partnership was one that WW suggested and I agreed to in order to protect the company and its creators. I do not believe other VTubers and businesses in the English VTubing scene should have to suffer because of my harassers. I hope it is seen as a sign that there is much work to do with overcoming harassment campaigns in the English VTubing scene. I will.
Again, she's right, but I mean that blade cuts both ways. So you can't be the one starting harassment campaigns against VTubers you don't like, and then crying foul when people turn around and do the same thing to you. It's not right that it happens in the first place, regardless of whose side you're on. But yeah, you're this is a blade. If she was truly intent on ending harassment campaigns and whatnot in the English VTubing scene, then she's got to be the example. And I don't care. And that involves actually calling out the harassment campaigns and denouncing it, whichever way they swing. Whether you agree with them or not, you can't agree with them. If your goal is to end them, and overcoming them, you can't agree with them, regardless of where you stand on the matter. I don't agree with the harassment campaigns against Anna, assuming there is one. I don't agree with harassing of waifu wares because of their affiliation with her. I don't agree with her going after Kirsha. I don't agree with harassment campaigns. There are better ways of doing stuff, and I don't think any of that's the right way.
Admit today's circumstances were less than ideal, and things could have been handled better, but waifu wares did not make any decisions under ill will. Small companies, not necessarily clued into everything that happens in VTubing, and in the end, waifu wares has every right to decide yay or nay on brand fits. I wish the team the best, as well as all the VTubers that work with them. Yes,
fine.
Definitely playing the role of the victim here.
No, that's not what she's doing. She's not playing the role of the victim here. This was a pretty standard, pretty like level-headed thing, I think. Basically, it says waifu wear should have never have been harassed. We've got a lot of work to do in overcoming harassment campaigns. A blade that cuts both ways, which I don't think she would acknowledge. And basically wishing waifu wears the best. So yeah, there's no victim complex here that I could detect.
Different tone when it comes to how they lost a sponsorship versus how they view others should lose sponsorships for their so-called problematic behavior. But you can see they're trying to be the hero here, basically saying they're taking one on the chin for waifu wares. But in reality, we can see the people they associate with openly accusing the company of transphobia, making this narrative that they fired people to fulfill the desires of these anti-trans radicals.
Yeah, and if Anna was actually honest about about her sentiments in this paragraph here, in this whole statement, she would denounce those people. Be like, nah, come on guys, we're better than that. We need to be better than that, otherwise things aren't going to improve. It starts with us, right?
That this is an unfair decision, when in reality, they're also trying to say, well, they're a company, they can do whatever they want. I don't know. It just seems like a giant mess, and they're trying to...
I will say it comes across as slightly disingenuous. Maybe the hero complex is there, and maybe she is trying to basically falling on her sword for waifu wares, but at face value, she's right.
Shine this in a light way, but it's not looking too great overall. Classic effing around and finding out. You want to go after people's sponsorships, you can't really complain when it comes back and happens to you. But anyways,
No,
that's going to do
that's
this
true.
video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video,
I
and
will.
I'll see you next time.
Yeah, so I think I said pretty much everything. I'm going to end up being a broken record if I carry on very much longer. But yeah, so that was that. Again, link to the original video will be down below. Let me know what you think, if you think I'm right, where you think I went wrong. And I'd like to know your thoughts on the matter. But for now, that's going to do it for that video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.